Good morning. Don't, don't I look like an innocent little boy? I'm Buster Brown. I live in a shoe. That's my dog Tig. He lives there too. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can make this a little clearer. Sorry, but I don't know if that helped, but here I am. Yesterday, I shared with you an ancient tarot experiment I did concerning different ways you can approach a tarot spread. Okay, and I used the adjective the noun verb adjective adverb thing for a four card spread, and I gave it sort of an example how the first card in the series is the noun. You can put them in any order you want, actually, but an adjective that comments on or colors the noun, and the adjective loaded noun then does something, so that's the verb card. And how it does that would be the adverb card at the end. That was more or less the. And I used only trumps for that particular example that I gave yesterday. But I had a big chart that shows every one of those four categories for all of the cards too. But that was a big ponderous thing, and I'm a lazy man. When I saw how terribly complex every card was, I said, "Well, I'm just going to hold it to the 22 trumps." And so I was talking about that yesterday. Now I've been interested in tarot cards since 1972 or 71 or 72, I guess. And for the first 10 years or so, I was more or less limiting my tarot studies to the Kabbalistic and meditative approach to the cards. And I stayed away from attempting to divine with the cards, either for myself or for others. And it was probably a wise thing that I didn't try to focus on that early, because it gave me about 10 years to get acquainted with the Kabbalistic mechanism and significance of the cards. So that when I finally did start to kind of experimentally read the cards. First, I tried to read them for myself, and fat chance. Okay, I am so prone to denial and wishful thinking and projection and that I forgot that when you perform any sort of a divination, you more or less have to surrender to the reality that whatever you get, whatever the answer is the correct answer. And if you don't get it, or if it seems completely unrelated to your question, it isn't. You've got to more or less take the responsibility where where you say to yourself, well, I'm going to approach an omniscient being, an intelligence that has the answer, and I'm going to knock at its door, and it's going to answer the door, and you're going to ask the question, and it's going to immediately tell you the answer. And if you say, no, that's the wrong answer, I guess you're not home today. How would you feel if you were the superior intelligence, if somebody did that, knocked on your door over and over and over again until they were happy with your answer? Well, anyway, uh, but I started to read for other people, and for many years I used the Thoth Tarot deck, which actually has the name, virtue, dominion, love, ruin. Okay, and the cards more or less look alike, especially the small cards. Uh, pretty close to an in-your-face frank answer. Okay, and so I'd do it for people, and I'd use the classic Celtic cross. Okay, and it's still a very I still have great respect for that simple uh, Celtic cross spread, and because finally after you do you lay one down, and the one that covers that, and that covers the situation, and this is what crosses the situation, and this is what is on the uppermost part of your mind, and this is what's going subconsciously perhaps, and to the left is what either happened before or is the cause of what is the effect of the card that's there to the right, and then you've got the environment that it's in, and finally the last card is what is to come. And it tells a nice, it sets you up. And especially when you're reading for someone else, they can see in the cards the development of the issue. Okay. And when court cards show up, well, that's my father, or oh, that's my partner, or that's my husband or wife, or uh, and they can start to see it. And as a tarot reader, you start to become sort of complacent. I see how I knew how that was going to, bad mindset to get into. Uh, but anyway, finally, and this is the outcome of the card, or the reading, very often, it's a pretty satisfactory reading. At least the person goes away with a lot of food for thought. So I used that for many years, but when I developed my own tarot deck and started to market my own tarot deck, and I'd go to various festivals and book signings and things like that, and sometimes I'd set up a little booth at a pagan pride festivals and things like that. And I'd sit and read cards all day, for people. And that Celtic cross thing was very, very time consuming. And many times I had people, waiting in line and things like that. So I tried something else. Okay. And for about the last 20 years, it's what I've been using. So when say you and I set up a tarot reading, either over the phone, which is where I do it mostly now, the phone, or on this Facebook Messenger thing, or a Zoom call, or which you have to set up yourself because I don't know how to set up a Zoom call, uh, or Skype, something like that, so I can show you the cards and everything. Um, my technique is I talk to you for a while to see what the hell your real question is. Okay, so if if you just tell me what the cards have to say about me, you know. I just want to see what the cards have to say about me. And, uh, you know, you're paying a little bit of money. I mean, a little bit of money for my time. Okay. And that is such an easy question to answers because I could pick any tarot card and say the cards say you can't make up your mind what you really want to know. The cards tell me you can't make up your mind. You're indecisive. You're an indecisive person that wants somebody to tell you what to think. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Cross my hand with silver and leave my tent. But when I finally, because I figured out, you know, especially when I read for myself, what do I want to know? What is it I really want to know? Uh, I don't think anything can accurately uh, uh, predict a set in stone future. Okay, some things are pretty damn obvious, but other things, the cards don't behave that way. So what I've done, and I started doing this at the Book Expo America, where I would sit every year at the Weiser booth. Okay, and I'd give 3 card readings, and you know, to promote my tarot ceremonial magic and my Thoth, the book on the Thoth tarot, and you know, I was doing it for promotional purposes, but they were all free readings all day long, kind of thing. And that's a big convention, you know, thousands of people, and when you start shuffling the cards, they all start lining up. And so I developed a classic 3 card reading, and sometimes it would go a little bit larger than a 3 card reading, but oh, now I'm going to give you the secret of the universe. The leaf blower guy is and so I said to Israel Regarde, and that's the secret of the 9th degree. Okay, I hope that leaf blower doesn't bother us too much there. I'm being silly. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. He'll be gone in a second. Anyway, I've developed this thing that starts off at least as a 3 card reading, and it's not a past, present, future thing. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, it's like I'm knocking at the door of the tarot God, and say, answer this poor person's question, give this poor person the advice that they need to hear right now in 3 cards. So it can be past, present, and future, but more likely it is 3 aspects of the question. And in the same way that the I Ching answers by suggesting what is moving in the situation, those 3 clear pictures of the aspects of the question should be enough for the querent to arrive at an answer of their own. Because if they really want to know, if they really have a question, it's really what they want to know, they already know the answer. So I posted on Facebook this morning just a whole sheet like that. And it's in small letters and printing and things like that. But it's you could see this entire thing I'm going to share with you. And I call it DuQuette's Roll with the Flow Spread. I've shared it with you before. But I'm going to do it again. I guess you could call this spread, which I've used exclusively for the last 20 years, a bit intuitive and organic. Literally, it literally rolls with the flow of the question and the questioner's unique and sometimes changing focus of inquiry. It starts off by looking like a classic 3-card spread, but it is really much more. Now, when I'm on the telephone or a Zoom thing, I shuffle for the querent, because they can't shuffle for themselves, okay? But after we decide on the question, and sometimes that takes 20 minutes to get at the question, and very, very seldom is their real question the question they thought they were going to ask when they called me up. But when we got that question, then I determine what their significator card is. I'll probably tell about it here. And I do that by the court card that represents the 30-degree period that they're in. That'll either be a knight or a king and a queen and a prince. Okay. Princesses don't rule 30-degree periods. They rule, I guess, with the ace, they rule spatially. But I decide what their birthday card is unless they say, I identify with the Princess of Cups or something like that. Well, if they identify with it, then go ahead and use that. But if they don't have any particular reason for identifying with another card, I choose their birthday card. Not only that, but there's another card, a small card that represents the 10-degree period that they're born in, because there are 3 small cards that live inside each of those 12 court cards. Okay, so I don't really use that as the significator very often, but when it shows up in the reading, it has significance, or it may have significance, other than just its general divinatory meaning. You know, if your birthday card, the 10-degree period you were born is the decan, that's the ruin card. Sometimes you're happier if the ruin card doesn't actually mean ruin in your answer. It means, oh no, it's you specifically. So you sort of take it out of the divinatory meaning running sometimes. Okay, anyway, I digress. It starts off by looking like a 3-card spread, but it's really much more. After the questioner shuffles the deck to his or her satisfaction, I spread the cards face up on the table in sort of a large horseshoe type thing. Now, I've got a green felt cloth that I lay out, okay, in person. And it looks so cool when I spread the cards out. In person, it looks very professional, like a Vegas dealer. There we go. Okay. And then starting from the far right of that horseshoe of the cards face up, I tiptoe through the cards without disturbing the order of the cards. I tiptoe through there until I find their significator. Then I cut the deck right there. I cut the deck right there. And all the cards that remain to the left, I scoop up in a pile and put it at the far right and reassemble the deck. So I cut the deck and reassemble the deck. But I don't stop shuffling until they tell me when to stop. And when they tell me when to stop, that's like a snapshot. That's like what an astrologer does when they cast your natal chart. They take a snapshot of the heavens at the moment you were born. Well, your question, we take a snapshot of it when you tell me to stop shuffling. And that order of the cards, in a sense, is the entire 78 card detailed answer to your question. And fat chance I'm going to read you a 78 card. Rachel Pollack could do it, okay, but I can't do it. And not only that, but it's a snapshot of the moment where your question or your issue is at that moment. And we don't want to just start with the world, the universal situation. We want to start with you. And that's why we pick this significator and then reassemble the deck. So your significator is the top card on the deck. Where am I in this situation, in other words? But the deck is still sequenced in exactly the same way it was when you told me to stop. But this time we're starting with you. And so the card that's on the bottom of the deck, it seems to be the card that's furthest away from you. Objectively, moving forward, you're on the top of the deck looking toward the bottom of the deck, and there's a card at the bottom of the deck. But because that deck is like a snake with its tail in its mouth, that card is the closest card to you subjectively, right behind you. Does that make sense? And sometimes, and I always make note of that, look, this is the card that's directly behind you. If this issue is on the forefront of your mind, this is what is right behind you, breathing down your neck. This card is like the angel that's right behind you saying, I got the answer, and you're just not turning around and listening to it. And very often, that's all they needed to hear. We talk about that card first. Okay, I digress. I spread the cards face up on the table in a large horseshoe. I find the questioner's significator and cut the deck there. I lay the significator toward the top of the table to remind us both who the questioner is. I then draw from the top of the deck the next 3 cards, and it says, see level 1 below. Okay, there's level 1. Okay, just 3 cards, just like that. We want big deal. 1, 2, and 3. Instead of the 3 cards being past, present, future, or other such defined positions, I simply use the 3 cards to define the elements of the question or issue at hand. When reading for others, I comment on each card and how they get along or don't get along with the other two cards. Usually, within a very short time, the questioner sees in those three cards the three major aspects of the issue that most concern him or her. Now, if they don't absolutely see any relation to their question in these three cards, we shuffle again. I've never had to do that. Not only that, but 9 times out of 10, the discussion we have on those three cards answers their question. Okay. I then allow the questioner, okay, if there's still ambiguity, I then allow the questioner to personally roll with the flow and choose which of those three cards or aspects of the question he or she wishes more information on. Now, I'm going to go back to the analogy of you knocking at the door of a supreme intelligence, an omniscient angel, and they give you the answer in those three cards. And you have the audacity to say, what do you mean by this particular thing? And the Supreme Intelligence sort of looks at you with a level of disappointment, bordering on irritation. That's that second level. Okay. Did you really not get the answer in those first three? Okay. So I'll repeat that again. I then allow the questioner to personally roll with the flow and choose which of those three cards or aspects of the question he or she wishes more information on. For our example below, the questioner more or less got their message. There's a typo there in your thing. Got them message. Got their message where the issue of card 1 were concerned, but really wanted to know more about cards number 2 and 3. Can you imagine how that would irritate the Supreme Intelligence that gave you a perfectly clear answer? Okay. So we created level 2 by drawing 2 cards, 2A and 2B, to comment, and 3A and 3B to give further clarification on those. Well, what do you mean by number 2? What do you mean by the death card? What do you mean? What do you mean by the 7 of Cups? Am I going to get drunk? Well, how? So those 2 cards, and then we discuss those 2 cards. Now, can you see what is happening here? Even though we may be getting more detailed information, we're moving away from the bigger, overriding, clearer answer, and we're moving into the possibility, the increasing possibility of you getting good information on micro aspects of the question that really don't concern the big picture for you. In other words, like, am I going to the opera tomorrow night? Will it go okay? And just, yeah, you'll get to the opera and it'll be just fine. But if you want more about that, but you'll break a shoelace. See what I mean? We move away from the clearer answer for the minutia that will be easier and easier and easier to misinterpret or to assign undue importance to. Okay, where am I here? Okay. But let's say you're clear on number 1, but need more information on number 2 and number 3. So we create level 2 by drawing 2 cards, 2A and 2B, to define and expand on number 2, and we discuss that. And then we draw 2 cards for 3A and 3B to define or expand on number 3, and we discuss that. So we're talking about this level right here. Very, very seldom do we need to get into that. Not only that, but we're moving away from a clear answer because people start to focus on this stuff, on your shoelace, and take your focus away from, I'm going to the opera and have a great time. Often the first 3 is enough to give a good reading and a thorough reading. But if it goes to level 2, most people that ever reach that are satisfied with that. But in our example below, the questioner would want further insight on level 2's 2B card. When we created level 3 and drew 2 cards, 2B and 2BB, 2BA and 2BB. Okay, yeah. So, okay. They wanted more information on that, so we drew that. Okay, more minutia. The shoelace will... the shoelace will come untied again, It hardly ever gets like that. But can you see how every reading could be a little bit different? Okay, we could just want information on this, then so there's no set way that it's going to look, but usually, in my experience, it ends up just looking like that. There's nothing to stop this reading from going as many levels down as needed, but the further down you go, the more specific and less obvious the communications become. At the end of the day, every reading looks different. As life is a roll with the flow matter, why shouldn't tarot readings be also? Okay. That's my little comment, and it goes with yesterday's little tarot talk, and I hope that would be helpful. And if you're on Facebook, just go up there and you can see this whole essay, including the typo. And you could, if you read cards for yourself, you can try it for yourself. So until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.